So let's talk about the social dynamics in society. Social dynamics focus on how societies change over time. It's to do with processes such as mobility, conflict, and adaptation. You know, in every society, there is a mobility. No society is static. Changes are bound to occur. So changing the status, kind of moving from one position to the other. That's the social mobility. Changes can also occur as a result of conflict. Example, these Boko Haram issues that we have in the country. It can make somebody that is very wealthy to become poor. So these are social dynamics. These are the changes that occur in the society. And adaptation has to do with how people are able to adapt and cope with these changes. So the next concept we are going to talk about is social institutions. Okay, so social institutions are established systems of norms and roles designed to meet basic needs. So in every society of the world, there are institutions and they are designed to meet social, they are designed to, they are established system of norms and roles designed to meet basic societal needs of the family. Family is the first, the basic institution we have in every society. And that is the place where socialization takes place. We also have the education institution, example, the school, okay, where we learn and acquire knowledge to better our life. This also helps in social mobility. Please mute yourselves. Again, we have religious institutions. All these institutions, they perform various functions in society. Please mute yourselves. Okay, we also have economic institutions and institutions. So let's start the function of these social institutions. The first one is socialization of individuals. You know, socialization takes place in all these institutions, in religious institutions, in the family, in political institutions. Again, it also serves as a social control. Example, in the family.
Important. I don't know. Very important. There's some exam, some lecturers will be like, you are like, maybe
the right time every time.
Those of you starting the class, so you can meet, please. So we're looking at the functions of social institutions. Can you hear me? Okay, we have the socialization of individuals. That's the first function. The second function, socialization, has to do with how individuals relate with themselves, among themselves in the society. Okay? The second function is social.
That woman is normal. She's all shaking. Hey, master, represent the airport.
Hello, hello, you people are distracting the class. I will remove you from the class. Another function of social individual.
Ma, we can't hear you, ma.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello?
ma.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma.
Okay.
Yes, ma.
Okay, I said let's look at family as an institution in the society. So family is the primary agent of socialization. Okay, that is the first place where the child is taught the basic skills he or she needs to adapt in the society. That's to be a useful member of the society. The child is, the children are taught the norms, the rules and regulations that guide the society in the family. So family is an important place for socialization. And again, another function of the family is that it regulates reproduction. Okay, because remember, in the family setting, you have marriage takes place. A man marries a woman, and that's the form of regulation. You know, people don't just have sex anyhow. So they have to, it has to be within the confines of the family. And that will help to control reproduction. Another function of the family is the provision of emotional and economic support. Like most of you here, your families are the ones, your parents are the ones responsible for your stay in school. They ensure that they provide you with money for feeding and your daily sustenance. So the emotional support is that when you have issues, be it the man or the woman, if it's in the case of the man, if the man has issues, the wife will help and console him. In the same vein, if the children are experiencing issues or stress, they run to their parents for emotional support. So the functions of the family include socialization, regulation of reproduction, and then provision of emotional and economic support. Another institution we are going to talk about its function is the educational institution. For instance, now all of us are in school, and as this lecture takes place, is a form of knowledge. Okay? Transmission of knowledge and skill takes place in school. And it's also another function of the institution is that of social integration. Social integration in the sense that, most of you, there are people that you will not have met in life, if not that you've come to school. So people from different places come together to acquire knowledge. In the same vein, or in so doing, you also learn more. You also interact with them. You know more about their culture. They become your friend, and in some cases, they become your friends and relations for life. Then it also preparation for the workforce. You understand? Educational institutions prepare people for positions they are going to take up in life. So your coming to the school is not just for coming sake. It's a preparatory ground for the work you are going to do in future. That is why you have various courses. People study various courses in line with their life aspiration. If somebody wants to be a doctor, that is taking care of someone that takes care of sick people, he has to do medicine. So if you want to be a doctor, you can't come in reading mathematics. So if you are coming to school, the educational institution provides you with the adequate knowledge that will prepare you for the world, that's to work in the world. Okay. Another institution we're going to talk about is the religious institution. And what are the functions of religious institution? The first one is that it provides a moral guidance. Okay, it provides moral guidance. Every religion tells us these are do's and don'ts. And the summary is that love of God and the love of your neighbor. What does that mean? You have to treat your neighbor with respect and respect their belongings. That is what moral guidance. Do not do this, do not do that. You have it in Christian religion, you have it in Islamic religion, you have it in African traditional religion, in every other religion. So they guide people to do the right thing. That's the first thing that religious institutions does. The next one is that it promotes social cohesion. It brings people together. People from the same religion, they kind of develop a kind of bonding among themselves. So religion helps to create a social cohesion. Then another function of religion is that it influences cultural practices. Okay, like the African traditional religion, that was the predominant religion before the white men came. So because of that, the new religion has influenced the cultural practices of the people. There are so many things that the people were doing in the past that they no longer do again because of the influence of religion. Okay, religion has helped. Example, some of the cultural practices like human sacrifices. Religion has put a stop to that. So it has great influence on cultural practices. Hope we are together. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Another institution we are going to discuss its function is the economic institution. The function of the economic institution is that it has to do with the production and distribution of goods, okay, organization of labor, and wealth generation. So this is an important institution because it has to do with production of goods, services, and all. You know, everything, agricultural goods, the goods we use for our daily needs, they are all produced under economic institution. And labor is a and the results as the for their work is wealth. Okay. Then let's look at social stratification. Social stratification. This refers to the structured inequalities among different groups in the society. The structured inequality among different groups in the society. Remember, I told you that no society is homogeneous. Every society is heterogeneous. People that belong to different classes. They don't have don't have enough, they do not have, they don't have this, let's say, wealth, okay? And you also have, you don't just have males or only females. You have male and you equally have the females. And the females do not possess equal rights as the male. They are kind of subordinated. You also have different races. You have the whites and you have the blacks. And the whites, they claim superiority over the blacks. So you have different forms of social stratification. The first one, you have the class system. You have the caste system. You have the racial stratification. And then you have the gender stratification. So let's look at each one of these forms of social classification. The first one is the social class system. This social class system is based on wealth, income, and occupation, and allowed social mobility. Okay, it is based on wealth, income, and occupation, and allowed social mobility. Okay, so in the class system, people are classified according to their wealth, according to the amount they gain as income, according to their occupation, and the allowed social mobility, how flexible they can move from one position to the other. That's the class system. And then when we talk about occupation, you know, not all the occupation possess equal prestige. Some occupations are viewed to be higher or to be superior than others. Example, medical doctors possess more prestige than gatesmen. Okay, so and income, people do not have the same income. You know, income is what people gain. That's their wages. How much do they gain for the work they've done? And you know that not everybody in the society earn the same income. The income that in a bank, for instance, the income that the manager earns is different from the income of a front officer in the bank. And the income of the bank is also different. And this also a form of, because this income has helped to various categories to belong to the same society. And then is in into upper and lower class. So, and classes are based hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
sorry about that.
Yes, ma'am.
My network was stable. Okay. The class system is on three-dimensional classification. So the first one is wealth. And wealth is the total value of an individual or family, including their income, their stocks, their bonds, their real estate, and other assets. So another dimension is that of power. Power is that you influence others to do your thing. If they do not want the dimension of power to the status and esteem code where others. Okay. What in every society you have people they possess not really over. You cannot you at times you can see somebody that possesses the three, somebody that has power and prestige. And in some cases you can see people that have wealth, but they do not have. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. I was saying that these dimensions of classification, they are not really, they don't that don't possess all these three. I mean wealth, power, and prestige. I was saying that the drug lords, that's those people that drug barons that deal with drugs, you know, they have wealth and they have power. That is in the underground world. But when you come out in the society, they do not have that prestige because their work is their business is shady. They cannot come out openly and declare that they are drug dealers. Okay, so that is it. The next form of stratification is racial stratification. And this involves the unequal treatment of people based on their race. And this is maintained through discrimination and institutional practices. Okay, this was predominant before the independence, before the blacks gained their independence. Okay, though now we still experience racial discrimination, but it is subtle, unlike how it used to be in the past before the independence. Okay, the whites that are the people, the colonial masters that are white, that are of white skin, they believe that they are superior to the blacks because of the color of their skin. And they equally believe that they possess more intellectual power and they have the capacity to think logically, unlike people from the black race. But science has proved that no race is superior to the other. In fact, that every human being is the same. But this took place, but this racial discrimination was very predominant during the colonial era, though it's happening today, but especially outside the country. Okay, so this discrimination can be seen in employment, housing, education, and justice system. Okay, when a black man and a white man goes for a job interview, even when the black man is more qualified, the white will be picked. And in some places, some white people will tell you that they don't accommodate blacks in their homes. Okay, so in the same vein, even in educational institutions, during that period when racism was was the vogue, the whites and the blacks are not allowed to attend the same school. Okay. Another one is that another important thing is this: that race is a social construct, is what human beings brought about. You know, the people started it. It is not biological. And the other. And this has consequences. The whites, the blacks, and also society as a whole. For the blacks, this racial stratification gave rise to inferiority complex. The blacks always believe that they are second-class citizens and they are not as good as the whites. Again, the whites also believe that they are superior to the whites. And this becomes a problem and it affects the society. In fact, some people, when they are discriminated against, they can have a mental health issue. So you have other problems that can, you have other consequences, social consequences of racial stratification. You can read that up yourself. So the next form of stratification about is gender stratification. And this gender stratification refers to unequal access to resources and opportunities based on roles and expectations. Okay, so you can see this in form of gender wage gaps. Okay, that's the men and women, they possess equal qualification, and when it's time they earn unequal, men are paid better than the women. And you can see this in some places, especially the private companies. There are some, they are private owners and they decide what happened in their company. Some of them decide, they will tell you that the men, that they are the breadwinners of their families. that they handle more responsibilities more than the females. That's their argument. Not minding that both male and female, they are doing the same job in the company. But you all know that some women are breadwinners in their family. But this differences in wage gap exist in our society today. You also have unequal political representation. Women do not have equal opportunity with the men. The men have the upper hand to be represented in political scenes. Example, in Nigeria, you know that women do not have equal access to resources as the men. And then when it's time towards the time for election, for their selling of forms, their forms were the prices of the form is in millions. So the woman cannot afford it because she doesn't have enough money. Automatically, she will not have that opportunity, even if she had that ambition of representing maybe her constituency in politics. She cannot because of a lack of resources. Again, most of their political meetings take place in midnight. And as a woman, you cannot go out in the middle of the night for a meeting. So intentionally, you would not say that the men have intentionally sidelined the women in politics in Nigeria and in some other countries of the world. Okay, so there is unequal political representation. So you see more of men in politics than women. Again, there is also this the manifestation of this of gender stratification can be seen in division of labor, especially in the homes. It has now become more difficult, especially in this modern era. The woman. Can you hear me? The woman takes care of reproduction. She performs her reproductive duties. She carries pregnancy. She performs her nurture function. She's the one that nurtures the children. She's the one that in this modern era goes to she provides a family. So they go to work, they come back. Even some of them cannot take care of all the bills. They can help out in doing house chores. Okay, all these works are seen as women's work, and those responsibilities not paid for. Okay, it's this gender stratification. Hello, you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, ma. We are hearing you.
Okay. So I said this gender situation is also manifested. You can see its manifestation in patriarchal society. Okay, in patriarchal societies, men are in charge. Okay, so women are subordinated. And then transition is same, cultural norms and specialization. That's I mean socialization. That's why society. Okay, religion supports that, and cultural norms supports that. That's why we continue to exist in society. Even socialization from the family, because in the family, the woman will be with that she's a gay. I think social mobility. What is social mobility? Social mobility is the movement between social classes. Okay, that's moving from one social class. It can be upward, it can be downward. Okay, upward in the sense that the secretary promote become the executive secretary, upward mobility, and that's a promotion. Also be downward. Okay, an executive secretary be demoted to become just
We
an
are supposed to be
ordinary secretary. Okay, so this mobility influenced by education and occupation. This mobility is influenced by education and occupation. So education is a tool that helps one to move in the social ladder. So there are some people that were from poor background, but but were able to move up in the ladder, in the social ladder, because they are intelligent and are able to go to school. So education aids social mobility. Also, some occupations too also helps one to move faster in the social ladder rather than others. In other words, when we have this upward or downward, we also have a upward mobility. That is, it is vertical. You move from one level to the other. Okay. We also have a horizontal mobility. That's the person moves from one within the same level. Okay, the movement is within the same level. Maybe the person leaves his office as an executive secretary in Abuja, and then maybe in Onitsha, and then move to Lagos as an executive secretary. Okay, so it can be horizontal or vertical. So let's see the dynamics of social action. This refers to the processes through which inequality is created, maintained, challenged, and transformed over time. the dynamics of social stratification. It refers to the processes through which inequality is created, maintained, challenged, and transformed over time. So what are these dynamics? Okay, what are these processes that enable the creation of inequality? What processes ensures that that creates inequality in the society and ensures that the inequality is maintained, challenged, and transformed over time? So this social stratification is not really, it's not stable. It's not stable. It can change at any time in every society. We've mentioned earlier that one can move from one social status, can move maybe from being rich, from the upper to the lower class. One can equally move from the lower to the upper class. So it is not really stable. I think we meet some okay issues. Okay, so it is not stable. Excuse me. Okay, what are the factors? What are the processes that helps to create these stratifications? Okay, we have industrialization. Okay, you know, with the revolution, some people that are very skillful are able to make it in the industry. You know, they gain employment and they get a well-paid job. Okay, industrialization is a factor. Another factor, another process is also globalization. You know, globalization has made the world a global village. You know, people can know what is happening in other parts of the world. From anywhere you are, you can tell what is happening. So globalization has made the world a global village. And those people that are able, that have the skills and that are cyber savvy, they have more opportunities. And some of them have moved up in the ladder. Globalization has enabled them. For instance, like some people that were nothing, that had nothing before, were able to acquire wealth through content creation as a result of globalization, because they are able to be creating content and they are paid for that. So they are able to move from their position to a higher position. They possess more wealth. Some of them have also are now more visible, okay, as a result of globalization. They are able to use the internet. That's the internet that is that kind of enabled globalization. Another process that helps to create this social dynamic is social stratification is dynamism in social stratification is education. Okay, so I've mentioned it earlier that education equips us and it facilitates mobility from one status, from one social status to the other. For example, a gatesman that has just his O-level certificate, after, if he's able to do an program or write JAMB and gain admission into the university, after his studies in the university, after acquiring his degree, his status can change if he gets a well-paying job. In other words, he will move from being a gate man to maybe a teacher, okay, which has a more prestige than being a gate man. Again, we also have policy interventions, okay, like government policies that can make some people to lose their status, and it also can favor some people. It can be favorable to some people. It can make them to move from one status to the other, and also make others to kind of upward. It can enable upward mobility, and in the same vein, it can also affect others negatively. In other words, they can equally be demoted as a result of a policy intervention. Okay? Any question? Hello?
No questions, ma'am.
Okay. So let's look at theories of social stratification. You have functionalist theory, you have conflict theory, and you have Weberian theory. But we are going to look at the functionalist theory and the conflict theory. So the functionalist theory, there are certain basic needs of function, prerequisites, which must be met for survival of the society. Social stratification to see how far it meets these functional prerequisites. Okay? The functionalists believe that this stratification, this social stratification in the society performs some functions, okay, that they perform important function in the society. In other words, that they help to create order, kind of creating an environment where some people that possess better skills perform superior functions, and those people that possess that do not really have skill perform functions that do not really require much expertise. So that's their argument, that the stratification in the society is for a purpose, okay, that it helps to create order in the society. So that is the argument of the functionalists. Again, for the conflict perspective, the conflict theorists, they see stratification as a result of the differential distribution of power, in which coercion, domination, exploitation are viewed as the key processes. Okay? So these theories, they believe that the key processes here are coercion, that people that come to power, they don't just attain it. They attain it through exploitation, domination, coercion. And it creates conflict, because some people, you know, in the society, you can see in the stratification, you know, remember the functionalist perspective, they said that it performs some functions. That some people that are highly skilled will now perform highly skilled functions, while those people that possess less expertise will be involved in performing functions that are less complicated. But in the society, you also see situations where people that are highly skilled are not really compensated for their efforts, why people that are not really that skillful are rewarded. It creates conflict. You know, it's a kind of it's now becomes it creates a kind of conflict because those other people they attain their position through exploitation, domination, and cohesion. It's not because of their capacities. It's not because of their skill. They attain that position because they are maybe they are more they are more domineering and they know more people that matters. Example in the Nigerian society. Okay, so is my explanation clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in the conflict theories, they see stratification as the result of the differential distribution of power, in which cohesion, domination, exploitation are viewed as key processes. Okay, so these exploitation are what enable individuals under this conflict theory are what enable individuals to move up in power. Those people that don't really have this capacity or the ability to dominate others may not really have that chance. And because of this domination, cohesion, exploitation, there is a conflict in the society. So, and this conflict theory is based on four basic assumptions. The first one is that every society is at every point subject to processes of change. In other words, social change is ubiquitous, that is, it's found everywhere. Every society is at every point subject to processes of change. Social change is found there everywhere. Again, every society displays at every point dissensions and conflicts. There's hardly every society there is no conflict. Okay, so social conflict is there everywhere. Again, yes. Again, the third assumption of this social theory is that every element in a society renders a contribution to its integration and change. So every element, even everybody in the society, contributes to the society. We are the ones thinking that this person's contribution is lesser or more superior to that of the other person. But the truth is that every contribution matters. Everybody's contribution matters, whether it is that of the gate man or the contribution of the cook. They are all contributing to the society. But that's the assumption here. Every society is based on a cohesion of some of its members by others. So this also happens in every society. There is no society where you will not find some members coercing others, maybe using force to make them do what they do not want to do. Okay? So, having said that, let's look at social inequality. Social inequality. You see, this social stratification we've looked at, they all create all these factors and processes create social inequality in the society. You know, people are categorized, they are grouped into stratas, into classes, or into castes. Okay, I think I missed the discussion on class. So please, you need to read that up about the class system. I think it was because of the internet fluctuation. I didn't discuss the caste system. Okay, and this is it's commonly found among the Indians. Okay, and you have in the caste system, you have four major uh, um, classes. You have the Brahmins that are at the uppermost at the top, and then you have the outcasts, that's the untouchable. And this ranking in the caste system is based on purity and pollution. Okay, those of them that are in the upper class, upper caste, the Brahmins are seen as being more pure than the untouchable. The untouchable are the outcasts. They are considered to be ritually unclean. And this also has to do with the kind of occupation they perform, that's in the society. The Brahmins are mostly priests, okay? And because of this categorization, because of this caste system, they cannot meet, they maintain distance between the upper and the lower caste. So there won't be pollution, okay? So, and this, because of this, it leads to extreme forms of inequality, exploitation, and discrimination among the upper class or upper caste, among the lower class or lower caste. Okay, the lower caste are not allowed to associate with the upper class. In fact, even they are not allowed to marry outside their caste. It is, in other words, the caste system is very rigid. You know, mobility is not easy. Mobility is not flexible. It is closed. It is a closed system. In other words, people in this society, they possess ascribed their status. So they have it as a result of their birth. They cannot change it. But that of the class system, mobility is flexible. Okay? Mobility is flexible. Assuming somebody that is born into a poor family in the class system, if the person is can acquire education and then move to the higher class, move to the upper class as a result of his education, he can really become rich, and he will not be in the lower class again. But in the caste system, once an individual is born within a caste system, he cannot move. If he's a Brahmin, he remains there no matter what. It's fixed. And if he's an untouchable, an outcast, he cannot move, and he cannot also marry somebody from the upper caste. But in the class system, marriage is allowed between an individual in the upper class and the individual and an individual from the lower class. So that can also result in a changing status, but it is not so in the caste system. So in the caste system, membership is by birth, I've said so, and segmented division of society. The society is hierarchical. You know, you have the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, and then the untouchables. So they are hierarchical, okay? And then each group, each caste have a kind of food they eat. It's it also determines their social relationship is strictly within caste. A Brahmin must not relate with an outcast to avoid being polluted. Again, there is civil and religious disabilities and privileges. Okay, the Brahmins are more privileged than the outcasts. They are not given privilege. They are not allowed to do some things. They are not even allowed to perform certain, to involve themselves in certain occupation because of their caste. Again, I've talked about restriction on marriage, and this, as a result, this caste system is endogamous. So they marry within their group. They do not marry outside their group. Okay? So these are forms of social stratifications: the gender stratification, the class stratification, and the caste stratification. They all gave rise to social inequality. Okay? They gave rise to social inequality. And what is social inequality? This is an equal access to resources, opportunities, power, privileges among individuals and groups in a society. Okay? So, people that are, example, in the caste system, it has created inequality. The Brahmins, they are not the same as the untouchables. So they have unequal access to resources, opportunities, power, and privileges. In the same vein, for those for the under gender classification, men and women do not possess equal access to power, resources, opportunities, and privileges. Men have more access to power, to resources, to opportunities, and privileges, unlike women. Women are subordinated. In the same vein, in the class system, those in the upper class, they have more access to resources, to opportunities, to powers, and privileges. Okay? So, what are the resources? Okay? Let's look at the different kind of resources that these individuals in the society have access or do not have access to. You have income and wealth. Okay? You have education. You have healthcare. You have political influence. You have social prestige. Okay? So, this access, individuals' access to any of these resources makes a difference. Okay? For those in the upper class, they have more access. They will be able to, because they have more income and wealth, they will be able to send their children to better institutions, to good schools. And when they are sick, they will access better healthcare facilities. If they cannot get it, example, if we're using the Nigeria as an example, if they cannot access those health services in Nigeria, they have the resources to move outside the country to access it. Again, the upper class also have a political influence. They know people because they possess resources. They are in charge of, they have access to resources, they have a political influence, and they have a social prestige. Okay? So these are the resources that individuals have access to. Any question? Hello, any questions so far?
No question, ma'am.
Okay. So this social inequality has gave rise to different contemporary issues. And these are gender inequality, youth unemployment, then social change and modernization. Okay? Can somebody help us to discuss this? Because this gender inequality is becoming a problem. Youth unemployment and then social change and modernization. Can someone help us and tell us how these are issues, these inequality has created this, help us discuss gender inequality. Yes? These
Hello,
are
ma'am.
contemporary.
Hello, ma'am. Can you please come?
Hello, Janet, you are muted. Can you unmute yourself? Janet? Hello,
Ma'am, can you
Janet.
please go? Ma'am, please, can you go over the question again?
I said, can somebody discuss gender inequality as a contemporary issue we have in our country today? Contemporary issue we have in our country today, this gender inequality. Can you discuss that? Yes?
Can you hear me now, Ma?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I was saying that, thank you, Ma, for the opportunity. So gender inequality in modern times is a problem because, like you mentioned earlier, in the field of politics, especially in Nigeria, we know that women are massively underrepresented, and it's the same story in many other countries, actually. And over the last few years, you have seen a rise in people advocating for more female inclusion in certain fields like politics and others. But not much seems to happen in those areas. So that's how I would say gender inequality is a problem now.
Okay. So what do you think are the factors responsible for this? Why is it difficult to change this status quo? Why is it difficult to address this issue?
Well, I think because it is something that has been deeply ingrained in us for like since time immemorial. Because gender roles were established so early on in human development, these things have followed us through till now. And it's hard for us to break away from the stereotype that women are unable to do certain things, even if we advocate for their rights in those areas, because we believe they may be too emotional or they may be carrying other burdens that will not be sufficient or will not suffice in this field, such as politics. Then I also think that I think it's mostly just the ingraining of more of social norms in our minds. I think that's the main factor.
Okay, thank you. Uh, thank you, Amadi. Amadi, you raised your hand. Kindly unmute yourself. Hello. Law, thank you. Amadi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Gender inequalities. I also wanted to emphasize something. It remains a contemporary issue globally. Hello, ma'am.
Please mute yourself if you are not given the opportunity to
Hello,
talk.
ma'am.
If you are not the one speaking.
Where are they go now? Okay, perfect.
Excuse me, hold on, let me know. Mute yourself.
Last time I was looking for you guys. Which were you guys?
Semitola, mute yourself.
I didn't say your video. Huh?
Semitola, mute yourself. Amadi, you can continue.
Ma. Okay.
I thought you were
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I just want to emphasize something like gender inequality remains a contemporary issue global, even including Nigeria. Like it affects our inequality to access education and job. Like most of the some women have been like denied equal education. Some society they base education only for male to know, and while some women, it's only few women that actually then that have access to education. It's all this modern time that women start rising up, they start speaking up for them. It's also brought out this saying that what a man can do, a woman can do better. Then also pay gaps. Some men earn higher than women do, and because they believe that men are the provider, that they provide more in the family. So in some workplaces, they believe they pay men higher than the female ones, and we females are being victimized.
Okay. Thank you, Amadi. Hamza.
Ma'am.
Okay, good
Hamza.
morning, ma. Good morning, ma.
Farida, can you unmute yourself? Amadi.
Good morning, ma. Can you hear me, ma?
I can hear you. Daniela, more mute yourself. Daniela, more mute yourself. Farida, continue.
Okay, so I would like to ask what the two girls have said earlier. Like how women are fighting for their rights in today's generation. Men still believe they are superior, so they are trying to like oppress women because it has been ingrained in our mindset that men have always been better than women. And even though women are starting to talk, like fight for their rights, men still believe they are superior. So men do not want to admit that they've been inequality for generations and generations. And then, as women, men believe that women belong in the kitchen. Even in today's economy, like they said earlier, men get higher pays than women. They feel that women are not they're not as capable as men. That men are better, men are more hardworking, and this mentality needs to change because I feel like men and women should be equal. They should be treated equally, equal rights, equal access to education. Everything needs to be equal because men are more favored. And people don't talk enough about how women get raped. When a female child gets raped, she she's terrified. She doesn't want to go back to school because of the way the society will treat the issue and such. But if it is a man, they will encourage him, things like that, which is not fair. That's what I feel.
Okay, thank you. So, can we discuss youth unemployment? How has social stratification contributed to this youth unemployment? You know, this is a problem we have today. How has it contributed to it? There's someone else. Farida and Amadi, put your hands down. Yes, how has
Excuse me, can I talk?
how has social stratification? Yes, you can. Vanessa, Manoze. Yes.
Yes, my youth employment is a serious problem in our country. Many young people are willing and able to work, but we don't have enough job in our country.
Okay. Can you connect it with what we have discussed so far? How has social stratification contributed to this?
Lack of job opportunities, poor education system, and also we have poor economic growth.
Youth unemployment and social stratification. Yes, who else would try?
Can I?
Adeyemi, Janet. Okay. Okay, Adeyemi,
Okay, ma.
Janet.
youth unemployment in relation to social stratification, I think in this time and age, there has been a rise in like nepotism. Nepotism. And we see that although we say there are no jobs for many youth in general, it's more or less a story of there are no jobs for who they are not supposed to be jobs for, in the sense. For example, you have young people who are connected with relatively influential political figures or social figures, and you see these people who are able to have access to jobs and to different opportunities better than those who are belonging to middle class or working class families. And even if you are in a middle class family, if you are connected to someone of relative importance in society, there is better assurance for you than somebody who just came out of school in Adamawa State or something and has no relations to anybody relatively influential. So I think that's how social stratification has contributed to youth unemployment.
Yes. Yes. Yes, Janet. Yes, that's how. Thank you for that contribution.
Did you remove my phone?
Yes. Social stratification has really contributed to youth unemployment. This youth unemployment is for those youths that do not have the social capital. They do not have the right connections to get jobs. Now, youth unemployment is a common problem in Nigeria, but it's only for those in the lower class. An individual that has parents or relations that are well connected will not experience this problem, because some positions, some vacancies are reserved for them. They are in school already, but they've reserved some positions for them, waiting for them to graduate and come on take up the job. So youth unemployment is only for the poor, okay, or maybe those in lower class and probably those in the middle class. And this has given rise to this brain drain, okay? Because these people are not recognized, they are highly skilled, and they are qualified to take up employment because of their position, because of their status in the society. They are TK, mute yourself. Because of their position in the society, they are unable to secure employment. So they have to move out. They have to look somewhere else in search of employment in countries where their skills will be appreciated. And it means a whole lot for Nigeria, because those youths that are leaving the country are trained in Nigeria. Their fees are subsidized. And at the end of the day, because of the problem in the country, they are unable to contribute their own quota to the country before looking somewhere else. In other words, when they leave the country, Nigeria is losing money. All the money that have been spent on their education is lost. It's like Nigeria is giving that gift. Example, is giving them as a gift, kind of the money they spend on their education is given as a gift to the country they are moving to. They are moving to the UK, UK is gaining. They are moving to US, US is gaining. And our country is losing. Okay? And that's a big problem. Okay? Then, how has social change and modernization contributed to social stratification? How has social change and modernization contributed to social stratification in the society? Yes? How has social change and modernization contributed to social stratification in the society? Hello, hope you heard me. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
We are with you, ma'am.
How has social change and modernization contributed to social stratification in our society?
Unequal access
Ma,
to
can you repeat
like
the question?
I say, how has social change and modernization contributed to social stratification in the society, in the Nigerian society?
hello, ma'am.
Yes, Esther.
Hi, hello, ma'am.
Unmute yourself and speak.
All right, ma'am. So social change and modernization have an impact on social stratification in the sense that as societies advance and with the impact of technological advancement again, there is bound to be stratification in the society.
Okay, as a result of what and what? What are the changes that takes?
For me, technological advancements and
Okay, Josh.
I feel even the reasoning of people as time
Okay,
increases.
Esther, are you still speaking? Hello, okay, Esther, are you done?
Yes, I'm done, ma'am.
Okay, Joshua, any addition to her contribution?
Yes, ma'am. This social change and modernization, how it affects social stratification is there's massive rural urban of mobilization where people want to move to the urban side and they're causing social stratification. And there's also factors like globalization and yes, globalization. This also affect the social stratification too. Thank you.
Okay,
Change in family structure.
Amadi,
Ma'am.
yes? Unmute yourself. You raised your hand up.
I would say social change and modernization can also be a contemporary issue because of social change, like tradition, when they say change from shift this modern shift to traditional norms like Western belief and from traditional beliefs like cultural shift clashing with traditional norms and belief.
Okay, it has brought about social change. What kind of change? Example.
Like the belief, the ways of life, like now the people keep like the traditional norms of our beliefs has been like shifted and the cultural lifestyle being imposed, like it's being like copied like that.
Okay, example like women should be sent to school. Okay,
Yes.
that they should be given equal opportunity with the men. So as a
Yes.
result, most women are now in school, unlike in the past, when the women are believed to be, their place is believed to be in the kitchen. Okay, thank you. Janet. Janet, unmute yourself and speak.
Oh, okay, ma. I think not to focus more on modernization. I think modernization is a contemporary issue in relation to social stratification because you see that as there are classes of people where you have the more higher up in power, influence, and wealth, and then you have like the lower classes. You see that there has become something like the digital divide as well, where that with those that are more influential, those that have more wealth, are opportune to have access to new technologies and new innovations in the world. You see that those in the lower classes are slower to get to these things, slower to have understanding of the different changes that are happening in our world, especially in relation to technology and innovations. So there you have the digital divide, and I think that is why modernization is a contemporary issue.
Okay, and because of this, they have an edge over those people that do not have that knowledge, that are not technologically savvy. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
because those people will make their money, they are now the ones making their money, and because they have more wealth, their status in the society will be higher than those that lack knowledge of such opportunities and also do not have those technological skills. Okay, any other addition? Yes, any other addition? Any other addition? Okay, let's conclude. Conclusion is that social institutions and social stratifications shape social life and they influence developmental outcomes in a society. So that is our conclusion. Okay, so social institutions and stratification shape social life and influence developmental outcomes. Okay, so that is it. Remember, we said that there is hardly any society that is homogeneous. Every society is heterogeneous, and everybody in the society, in every society, do not belong to the same status. There is categorization. Okay, and this categorization helps to shape their social and also influence development outcomes. So it determines what happens, how they relate, and what happens to the country developmentally. Okay. Any question before we call it a day? Okay. If there is no question, I'll end the class. Thank you for coming.
Ma, please, can you share your slides with us, with our class reps? Because network was bad today, sometimes it logged us out, so we're not able to get the complete slides.
Okay, what will happen is that I will give you material to read, not the slide.
Ma?
I will send material for you to read.
Hello, ma.
Okay, I will send you material to read, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.